Yeah, good evening, everyone. I welcome you to another community section. Session. Sorry. This is another session packed with informative topics. Another session for you to learn all about data analytics. So today we'll be tackling time intelligent functions in DAX. Let's dive right in. So you might be wondering what is time intelligence functions. These are just basically DAX functions that let you perform a calculation across a different time period. So, why are these functions majorly useful in data analytics? These functions are majorly useful because they answer the real business questions, that is the time intelligence answers, such as where are we behind, or where are we compared to last year? Why is our running total for the year so far? Maybe you can answer, is this month's deep a trend or just a one-off? Such questions. Um, let's just jump into the prerequisites that you need in order to calculate the various time intelligence functions. That is the first step. You need a calendar table. In our case, that is a calendar table is required so that the intelligent functions do not work on your data tables if on the date column directly. So they require a dedicated, complete, contiguous, and continuous calendar table to operate correctly. So in our case, let me jump right in and show you what I mean by that. So in our case, I've already loaded everything in our dataset. Our dataset starts from 2005 all the way to, that is January 1st, 2005, all the way to Wednesday, December 31st, 2014. That is what I mean by a continuous calendar table. It has no date skipped. That is from first to the last date. You might find when working with various data sets, you don't have a continuous table. I'll show you a quick and easy way on how to create that. So you have three ways you can utilize the auto date and time. That the second one, you can use DAX to create that, and finally you can utilize the Power Query. In our case, we already have everything set up. We'll just jump right into what we are going to tackle. So in our first section, we're going to go over cumulative measures, that is the year to date, month to date, and quarter to date. But before we jump right into this, we require to work with a base measure. So in our case, our data set handles sales. So our base measure will be total sales, which already set up my measure. So our total sales is a summation of fact internet sales, the sales amount column. This gives us the total amount of sales that we have made. So you might be wondering what year to date means. This just basically it calculates the running total from the first day of the current year up to the current date in context. Just so that we can see this. As we set up. So maybe a sales director wants you to track whether the company is on pace to hit its annual revenue target of, say, maybe 20 million. You can put the sales year to date on a line chart and along at the target line. That is a sample use case on how useful this can be. Let's see this in context. So for this, we'll require a slicer. So want to put our slicer, you want to put the dates. That's it. Want to put is it our calendar year? We make it a drop down. Slicer settings, make it a drop down. No, we want, so we want the date. We want the date, not the the calendar year, the date, same date, in that here, remove this. Yeah, so maybe just to add a filter, since my current data set, our data begins from 2011, so we can add a filter. So once filtering, we go to set it is after. So we want basically to start from 2011, so that is after 20 is after 2010. December 31st. Then we apply our filter. Yeah, you might notice it now starts from 2011. So once we have our filter, in order to understand this concept better, we will need a matrix table. Yeah, so under our matrix table, we are going to pass our cells. So maybe before that, you'll require to have a measure, that is the sales YTD. In order to create that, you utilize a function called total YTD. By YTD, I mean year to date. So we call that function. Inside it, we pass our total sales. That is the base measure we initially created. And then said along it, we pass the team date. That's the current dates, the running dates. So once you have that all configured, in order to view this correctly, you need to be going to put it in a matrix table. So yeah, so sales YTD, bring it here. And our rows, we are going to have, yeah, so YTD, and then we have total sales. And then we have total sales. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So once we have that, let me just sort this up. Yeah, that's okay. So again, just to recap what YTD means, this calculates the running total from the first day of the current year up to the current date in context. So assuming we are starting on January, on the Saturday, January 1st, 2011, and we want to see the total running sales from January to say February 9th. So we select that, that's the okay. Yeah. Let's see if I've set everything. Oh, I inputted the wrong measure. This is not what we want. We want sales YTD. Yeah. Yeah, now okay. So what basically this does, it calculates the total number of sales made from January 1st to February 9th, 2011. So you can see our total number of sales that is in the current year, the 2011, is 15. No, yeah. So our YTD becomes 473. That's as I notice how the number changes and increases as I increase the number, the date period, and decreases as I decrease the dates. So maybe we can go back a little, say to February 1st. I want to see. So the number decreased from 400 to 300. This basically means that it just shows you it filters out. It no longer calculates up to February 9th. It now ends on February 1st. So maybe you can go to March. So we expect the number to increase. Yeah, so it increased to 1.2 million total in sales. So this is a great measure where you can use to calculate the number of targets, maybe the target lines, the number of sales currently. Aside from that, we are going to utilize the month to date. For this, it's basically it's just the opposite. It's just changing the year, and now it calculates 2 months. So basically this calculates the running total from the first day of the current month up to the current date, to the date currently in context. Again, so this might be useful. Say you want to put maybe you have a regional sales meeting every week, so you want to put the number of sales you have made on a card visual to track whether, say, in March is strong. We are making we are meeting our sales targets. You want to if you, that will help you in calculating your sales strategies and stuff. So let's go and head over and see it. So do that will require our, to see this in context. Let me remove this filter. In our visual, we want to add the year. You will see, so yeah, as the current, as a row. Aside from that, since we are tackling with months, we'll want to work with months. So we'll head over to add the month. Yeah, so add our month. I would want it like yeah, so now since we are not tackling with year to date, we are working with months. So remove that and input our sales to month to date, function. So as I explained, the first year to date, month to date is just a little different, not that much different from the other one. So in this case, we utilize the total MTD function and pass the same things. You pass your total sales and in date. So that once you have your measure created, drag it to the, in our case, we are using a matrix column, but you're not limited to using it in a matrix column. Again, as I mentioned, you can use it in KPIs, in line charts, whatever. It depends with your use case. So for us, maybe just enlarge this and English month name. Let's say have total sales. Reorganize this total sales and yeah, and sales MTD. So just to give you an overview what it does, you can see it in context. So our data sets, again, as I mentioned, it starts from January 2011. So in January, these are 323,743. Those are the total number of sales we made. Since January is the in our case is a current month in context, there's no comparing it to another month. So our sales MTD remains the same as the total sales. And yeah, so as you can see in February, our total sales was 3,473. Our sales MTD changed to is exactly maybe this is not the right visual. Maybe this doesn't explain my concept very clearly. Let me see how we can do this. Put our English month name, year, say our total sales, our sales MTD. Um, 74469. Maybe we'll get that back to that. Sales MTD. Months. Let's just see what's going wrong. Move everything. We have our calendar here. Let's just start from scratch. Let's put our calendar here. We have everything okay. Total sales for that day. So okay, we need the date. Oh, that's where we went wrong. So English month name. English month name, then our date, the name date. see, say in 2011, January 1st, yeah, okay. Then our total sales, we need to see the total sales for that day. So we have that value, and then sales month. Just to confirm if we have everything okay. Yeah. Now we okay. So as you can see, as I explained, MTD basically calculates the running total from the first day of the month to the current date. So assuming our data set on Monday, January 10th, our total sales was 14,477. So what MTD does, since that is our current date in context, it doesn't calculate. So the running total will be the same totals as total sales for that day. So you can see on Tuesday, January 11th, our total sales was 13,931. At this time, our MTD changes. It's not the same as total sales. It now calculates, it sums up January 10th and January 11th to give us 28,488,000 as our cumulative running total for that month. So it does that up to all the way up to the month end. So as our month ends, we can say the cumulative total sales for that month we made is 3,223,743. So that is the total number of sales we made in that month compared to it. So what this does in a nutshell is it sums up everything from January 10th to 31st. You can see the same for February. It's so once a month ends, it starts all over again. So for February 1st, 2011, we begin at 15,000 all the way up to February 28th, 2011. That is the last day in our context for that month. So maybe just to give you, that's an overview of what MTD does. It never, so maybe one thing you might notice, MTD only goes up within a month. It never decreases. On the last day, on the month, it equals the total sales for that month. And on the first of the next month, it resets to 0 and starts climbing again. So that's a good use case you can use. So the next thing is quarter to date. So quarter to date sits between the month to date and the year to date. So what do we mean by quarter? Quarter to date, it accumulates the first day of the current quarter and resets every 3 months. So in a year has 12 months. So that is 4 quarters. So the one quarter has technically 4 months. So that's why we say. So this is very useful maybe for companies that have reports on a quarterly basis. This is where you find yourself majorly utilizing quarter to date. So majorly you want to see that. So again, you need to start from the measure, create your measure, sales quarter to date. Maybe it's just good practice also to name your measures properly in what it does. So you can see as mine, I named them with the time period it's calculating. So sales to date. This time you are utilizing the total quarter to date and passing the total sales and dim date. So in order to see this, we'll want to see that in the various quarters. So in our case, we won't move the total MTD. We no longer need that. Past our quarter to date, we need to see our quarters. So we need quarter one. So that is our date. So again, once you set up your calendar table, it's good to set up the various columns. That is the quarters, the years, the months, and so on and so forth. It depends with your use cases. You can see I have also a fiscal semester, financial fiscal year. Yeah, it depends with how your say the organization calculates the financial years or whatever data you're working on. So we are working with quarter to date. we change and add quarters, calendar quarters, to see this in practice. Then say we remove the date, put quarter 1. Yeah, so like I said, it divides it into the various quarters. So says quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. So we need to see the specific period in that quarter. So we want the date. I need, yeah, quarter date. Yeah. So once you have everything set up, so basically what I'm doing here is I have my rows divided it into the various years, inputted the various quarters, and then passed the, maybe we should do this. Yeah. So past my months, that is January, February, March, and then the date. So in order to see this better, I feel like this. Okay. So in our first quarter, so Monday, January 10th, 2011, that's the first day of our quarter. It takes the total sales and for that day, and that's the beginning the beginning sales quarter to date. So on the next day it sums up the two, and that's how we arrive to 28,000. So as I explained in month to date, now this is just a little bit opposite. It does not reset on after every month. Now it resets after every quarter. So you can see the running sales QTD go all the way up to March 31st. That, since that's the last day of our first quarter, maybe you can see on the second quarter. Our second quarter begins on April 1st, 2011, and it begins with the total sales made that day was 7,156,000. That is our starting. So maybe think about how in financial analysis there's opening balance, closing balance. So on March 31st, our closing balance was 1,276,000. Again, so on Friday, Friday, April 1st, that being the beginning of our second quarter, we start on a clean sheet. So our opening balance here will be like 7,000, the sales made that day. I hope this gives you a quick insight. Yeah, so you can, maybe a good use case, business use case for this is maybe have majorly companies have quarterly targets. You can use this on a target line on a chart to see if you have actually met your, say, in our case, your sales target for this quarter. This might also come in handy when we are tackling same period last year, where you might want to compare our sales for this quarter compared to our sales to the previous year same period. We'll go to that in a few. So you might be wondering what I mean by same period last year. That basically is self-explanatory. So that is the same period we are in currently in our current context compared to the previous year. So for this, again, we need to start with the measure first. So maybe a quick tip is when working with a huge data set, it's a good practice to organize your measures in certain folders. So you can see in my case, I have organized mine in these measures, cumulative totals, that is what we were handling, the MTD. Same period last year, I've organized them into prior period folder. So this just makes it easy when you're working with various different analysts. It's easy for them to come and understand what you are trying to do. So in our case, we're interested with sales same period last year. Majorly, this is what we want to know. If we want to answer the question, say Are our sales doing well compared to last year? At the same time, to see this, you utilize the calculate function. So we calculate under the calculate function, we pass the total sales, and then we utilize the sales the same period last year function, and then we pass our date table. So let's see how we can be able to see this visual properly. So in our rows, let's have our calendar here. We want to see total sales, and let's say months. We want to break it down monthly. So we add English monthly. Yeah, so organize that. Okay, over a granular level. Yeah, so in order to see, we put our same period last year. Yeah, so maybe just should open this, maybe just to explain this. So again, our data starts from 2011, so we cannot have any comparison to the previous year since that is our start. So you're tasked to compare. So in January we made 323,743 total in sales. So maybe we want to see if our sales have dipped or increased. So in our current context, maybe we're in 2012, the same time January. So in January, our sales have increased. Actually, we have 588,286. So this might come in handy. So when you're comparing, so you can put this a good example. If you want to, you have it in a, say, in a card, you can have we compare this actually very well with variance and percentage change. So you might decide to calculate. So in our case, maybe just to show you this. Let's tackle this in years. So to calculate the variance, you will pair this with the variance and the percentage change. So in our case, we can have sales month over month change percentage. Let's start with the variance. Do we have yeah we are okay. For us, we have a month, so let's work with on a year level. So on a year level, we might want maybe say to calculate what is the change of the sales in the same period. So for that, it's a good case to pair this here. Yeah, so to calculate this, you'll okay. So before I explain that, so to calculate our percentage change is basically the previous year minus the current year minus the previous year. You find the difference. So in our case, you can see on 2011, these are the numbers we're looking at. That year we made a total of 6,852 for 852,489. In 2012, our sales dipped by and we dipped and made a total of 5,836 836 435. So you might want to display how much we dipped by. So that is 1,616,143. You can go further in a granular level and utilize the percentage change. So year over year. So I already have my measure. So for this, majorly it's we compare the current sales. We are just dividing it by 100, so we can see the percentage change. So in our case, let's add this here, so we can see our changes. So in our case, as I said, the first year there's no change to compare it to. So on the second year, 2012, we, as I mentioned, we dipped. We dipped by how much? That is a negative 14.83%. 2013, maybe close this off for a better view. Yeah, so in 2013, we actually increased our sales by a huge margin by a total percentage of 174.91%. Finally, in 2014, we dipped by 96.10%. So this might come in handy maybe when dealing with sales strategies. It answers questions of what did we, for in our case, maybe in 2013, what did we do majorly in our sales strategy that made us hit this huge percentage change? What compared to what we did in 2014 that made us have that huge dip. So that's a good case in example where you can utilize sales for the previous years to see the where it's just a comparison where you from compared to the last time. You pair that with a percentage change, with the change and the percentages. You can also deal with variance and measures. So again, it's just the same thing. Stakeholders really want to know, they don't care really about the numbers. They want to know by how much did we grow or by how much did we drop? Is the growth good or bad? So variance in our case, again, measures, answers both of those questions. So basically variance is this, the year-over-year change and the percentages. And finally, we can have rolling averages. So you might be wondering what are rolling averages. So basically rolling averages are the it works by I'd say a context window. So you can have a rolling average of 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, so on and so forth. So basically this will come in handy when you want to, it's actually powerful when you actually want to do things like trend analysis, um to see if you have seasonal spikes and drops. Might answer maybe why is December always high for retail, why is January always slow. uh Rolling averages shows you that the underlying trends in those sample use cases. uh let's see how it works. So let's say maybe just to give you an overview of what I mean by the rolling average. So in our case, before I actually start creating the measures, so assuming we want to calculate a rolling average for maybe 3-month period. So in a year, maybe you're working, maybe you're in 2011, so we are working with a 3-month period. So it will begin with January, February, then March. Then it will sum the total sales for that. Then when we head over to April, since we are working with 3-month period, January gets dropped. So it goes to it sums again from February, March, April. It goes all the way dropping 1 month until October, November, and December. Assuming might be working with say 6 months. So for 6 months will be different. That is our half year. So if you're working with 6 months, it will sum the total sales from January, February, March, April, May, June, and then it will close off. Then on July it will begin afresh. So it start from July, August, September, October, November, December. That is why we say it works within like we say like a moving a window, like a moving context window. So it goes and changes depending on the rolling averages you want to maybe calculate. So that when all is said and done, we need to see it in action. So maybe we want to work. So in my case, you can decide to work with 12 months. That's basically a year. 30 days. So we are majorly interested with 3 months. I think this is the one that will make you understand the concept. So for 3 months, again, as I said, name your measures, exactly what it does for easy visibility and understanding. So for now, we are utilizing variables. That is where we are saving the last date, setting up, and then for now, majorly for this, we'll use the calculate function, pass the total sales and the dates in period. So now to calculate the total dates, because we want to find the exact, so in a month, maybe it's how many, like about 90 days, let's assume like 90 days. So this is why we are using this. Again, we pass our last date and then we input our 3 months condition. So once we have that set up, maybe just to drop this up in our matrix. So we want to remove, okay, sales period 3 months. So that will be our value. Just to make this okay, let me remove the same period last year. And yeah, let's just work with clean data. Yeah. As you can see, March, yeah. No. Do. Let's put this. Sales. In a rolling basis. So January. No, I've arranged it strongly. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, we're putting in 3 months. 5 million. Yeah, so in our case, you can see it begins on January. The total sales we made was so on January, being on 3 months, let's have the month. We have the total sales and how the averages. Okay. We okay. So on January, being our start month, the total sales for 300, 200 and 323, 743. So Jan, being our start, there is no prayer months. So here, in our case, the window being January and maybe in February, the window being January plus February, it will take up the sales we made in February plus the sales we made in January. That leads us to this 761,115. That is the summation of the total sales from February and January. So in our case, when you get to March, that is our window being January plus February plus March. It will take the summation of the March sales, February sales, January sales, and sorry, and head over to, and that's how we arrive to the 1,276,000. So here's where the change happens. So since we're working with 3 months, when you get to April, the shift, here's where the shift changes. So January gets dropped. So we are going to work with the summation of February, March, and April to give us 1,476,240. On May, February gets dropped. When you get to May, February gets dropped off. Get to July, it goes all the way. Get to June, March get drops off. July, April, goes all the way until February. It's left with February, with October, November, December. Yeah, so that's it. It kind of evaluates at the grand total level and returns the last 3 months data only. In this case, so maybe I think the 12-month rolling is the smoothest of all. It eliminates all these seasonal effects because every context window remains the same, just exactly 12 months, that is 1 year. So maybe this come in a business context. Maybe this can come in context. Maybe say, as I mentioned, you can analyze different periods. So maybe the seasonal period. Assuming our seasonal period will be like December. Maybe say from October, November, December. You can see how the sales are like during that period. Maybe we can have like say opening. We can ask the questions why the opening start of the month after a seasonal period, why are the sales slow, so that you can deal with January, February, March. Maybe say Black November, preparation from Black November, so you can do September, October, November. So feel free to work on the various context windows. So just to give you a quick session summary and key takeaways, there's like, I would say like 5 golden rules of time intelligence. So to start us off, always have a calendar table and make sure it's marked as a date table. If you maybe want to know if it's marked as a date table, it surely has a small date. It usually has a small calendar icon. So aside from that, by that, make sure your dates are continuous from the start to the finish. Again, ensure you have your relationship set. Okay. Aside from that, I said you begin with a base measure. I'll always have a base measure to start. So yeah, if you think about it, every time intelligent measure is just a base measure with a different date filter. Yeah, so we can just say, we can maybe package it into that. So aside from that, uh the rate visual depends on the question you want to actually answer. That is the rate visual, the right time intelligent you want to use. Another use case you might want to do is, let me just find a good, let me go back to yeah, let's choose this. So another thing I want to mention, another golden rule is use variables for readability and performance. So in our case, you can see I'm utilizing variables here. This majorly helps you with your logic and performance, evaluates each measure once. It's also good. It's a good to have. And finally, can say on the divide, instead of using the slash, maybe I can say, let's see, it's good to use the divide. Is my variance. Hmm. So for my case, yeah. So for my case, you can see I'm utilizing the divide function. This is helps you majorly handle blank and zeros gracefully. So aside from that, here's what we have covered today. We have covered the base measure, that is our total sales. It answers our business question: what are our total sales? On our cumulative totals, to start us off, we have tackled year to date. This majorly, we can say, it answers the business question: how much have we sold this year so far? And then to head over to the month to date, it's majorly answers what are we doing so far in this month. I hope this really makes it easy for you to differentiate between the different time intelligence measures. Again, quarter to date, how is this quarter progressing? With that, we headed over to same period last year. So that is how are we doing compared to last year? So maybe just to say, how is this quarter progressing compared to last year's quarter to last month? How is this month progressing compared to last month? Again, we have tackled year-over-year change. That is, we can say it answers the business question: by what percentage are we growing? And finally, the rolling averages. So this is majorly utilizing the dates in period function. We can say this answers the big business question. What is our recent trend without seasonal noise? Maybe, yeah. So in our session, I've majorly utilized the matrix table just to give you, because you're working with numbers, but I would say this is not a good way to actually present your data. When you're presenting this, find a good way for, because stakeholders are not really going to go much in detail on. As you can see, I've how listed my months, my years, and so find a good way to present this data so that they can understand it at the first glance. So because typically users, if they can't spend they cannot understand your data within the first what you are trying to present to them within 3 seconds. That's the problem. So that's all about time intelligence. We have just tackled a few. There's so much to it. My 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 take for you, my ask for you is to go deeper into this topic, understand it, find the various use cases you can utilize it. Yeah, that's been our time. My name is Alan Lewis Gitau. I'm a data analyst at Sibasi. Sibasi, tackle various we handle various solutions, data analytics being one of them. If you need any of these services, please feel free to reach out to us. I will be in communication. Yeah, see you next time. Cheers.